All right, let's dive straight into a masterclass on one of the most powerful sales strategies out there, a technique that completely flips the script between a buyer and a seller. We're talking about the puppy dog close.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by defining exactly what this is. Then we'll get into the fascinating psychology of why it works so well. After that, we'll break down the 3 distinct phases for success, give you a step-by-step blueprint to implement it, and finally, cover the critical mistakes you absolutely have to avoid.
First things first, what exactly are we talking about when we say the puppy dog close? Let's get a crystal clear definition.
So get this, instead of asking for the sale, you're just asking the prospect to try the solution. The name comes from that brilliant pet store tactic, right? Let a family take a puppy home for the weekend, you know they're never bringing it back. This strategy taps into that exact same powerful principle of feeling ownership before the purchase.
This is why top-tier consultants see this as the absolute best way to eliminate those initial barriers. It just sidesteps that fear of commitment entirely. The conversation shifts from, should I buy this? To a much more powerful, wow, does this work for me?
Okay, so we know what it is, but why is it so incredibly effective? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. This whole strategy is built on some deep-seated, fundamental human psychology. This is the engine that makes it all work.
This number, 2.5x, this is the secret sauce. This represents a core principle called loss aversion. You see, tons of research shows that for us humans, the pain of losing something we already feel is ours is about 2.5 times more powerful than the pleasure we get from gaining something new. And that psychological trigger, that's what drives this entire strategy. As soon as a prospect gets their hands on your product, the decision is no longer about gaining its benefits. Nope. It's now about avoiding the pain of having to give it up.
And here's that strategic shift in action. It's brilliant. You're literally changing their entire frame of reference. They go from being an outsider, weighing the pros and cons from a distance, to being an insider, a current user who is experiencing that value firsthand.
Now, this process isn't just about, tossing the product over the fence and hoping for the best. No way. It's a carefully managed 3-phase approach that's designed to maximize that feeling of psychological ownership.
First up, you have to completely, 100% remove the risk. Phase 1 is all about neutralizing their fear. Think about it, a lot of prospects have been burned before, so your offer needs to be ironclad. If this doesn't work for you, you just give it back. No harm, no foul, no questions asked.
Next up is the integration phase. This is where the real magic happens. As they use it, your product stops being your product and it becomes their tool. It gets embedded in their daily workflow. They build habits around it. And it becomes psychologically really, really difficult to imagine going back to the old way of doing things.
And finally, we have the reciprocity trigger. Because you've acted as a helpful advisor who provided a real solution, not some pushy salesperson, they feel a natural human inclination to reciprocate. You've given them value up front, creating a kind of debt of value. And the easiest way for them to repay that debt? It's to commit.
This matrix just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the strategic difference here. In a standard close, the burden of proof is all on you. But with the puppy dog close, that burden shifts completely to the product's performance. You stop promising value and you start proving it.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the most important part, the how. This is your clear, actionable blueprint for putting this all into practice.
You want to follow these 5 steps exactly. Figure out their biggest fear. Offer a test drive specifically to solve that fear. Agree on what success looks like before they start. Then you got to make sure they're actually using it. And that final step, the administrative close, it's a masterstroke. You treat the purchase like a simple administrative detail because the real decision was already made the moment the product proved itself.
Let me paint a picture for you with this real-world example. A consultant goes to a CEO and says, "Look, let me set up your 5 key people for 2 weeks, completely free. If it doesn't save you time, we'll just turn it off." Well, what happens? After 2 weeks, that team has automated all their reports. The pain of going back to doing all that manual work is now way, way bigger than the cost of the software. The sale is practically inevitable.
Now, as powerful as this strategy is, it is absolutely not foolproof. It can backfire, and backfire badly if you do it wrong. So let's talk about the critical mistakes you have to sidestep.
You have to stay engaged during the trial. You can't just drop it off and disappear. And make sure your prospect is actually qualified to buy in the first place. Always, always set a firm end date for the trial. And maybe most important of all,
Make sure the trial experience is seamless. Any friction, any frustration, it works directly against you.
This quote from the great Peter Drucker really captures the whole philosophy here, doesn't it? The puppy dog close is the ultimate embodiment of this idea. You're letting the product's perfect fit for the customer do all the selling for you.
And really, the whole process hinges on this one word: trust. By offering a totally no-risk trial, you're showing supreme confidence in your product. You're putting the customer's needs first, and that is the absolute fastest way to build a rock-solid relationship.
And to bring it all home, let's go back to the man himself, Brian Tracy. He reminds us that everything we do either helps or it hurts. The puppy dog close, at its core, is a deliberate, powerful act of helping your customer make the right decision. And in the world of sales, helping is the most effective way to earn a genuine, lasting commitment.